Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the Consumables YouTube channel where we have freshly squeezed content for you. My name is Tyler, and today we're going to be doing something honestly just kind of for fun. I saw something similar on Twitter, so I figured, that looks like a good idea. I kind of want to take the idea and turn it into a video because it just seemed like a good topic just to discuss because she is kind of a queen, through the 2010s and the 2020s. So today we're going to be ranking Lady Gaga's lead singles. I'm really excited to do this, guys. I have all the singles in front of me here, and we're going to be going through them in order. So from basically last to first, and there's 6 of them, I believe. Yeah, there are 6. I guess for some context, actually, for if you don't know me, when I was younger, I had a huge obsession with Lady Gaga. I owned so much of her merchandise. Some of it was not even real, like illegal, like unreleased songs that were on CD form. Some really cool, like fancy merchandise too. So, I was a stan. I knew a lot about her. Honestly, like I probably learned more about her in high school than I did about anything else. Here we go, guys. We're going to jump right into it here at number 6. It is Applause. Applause reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released August 12th, 2013. This was a very rough time for Gaga. She split with her management that she was with for years. So I can only imagine what that's like, having to change the people that kind of help you make the decisions in the middle of kind of like what should have been another huge era for her. Because the direction that she seemed that she wanted to go in when it was coming around in promo seemed awesome, like very high art, the Coons stuff, and taking the portrait of Venus and kind of rolling with that aesthetic. And I think that it should have been more than what it was. And Applause, to me, it's not my favorite lead single of the bunch, obviously. The instrumental to me is kind of jarring for 2013 pop. Like, I feel like 2013 was a weird moment where things that were big in like early 2000s pop music kind of came back in for a second. Like Sarah Bareilles was having like kind of a moment around that time. Roar by Katy Perry was definitely not anywhere close to a club banger like Applause was, and even though I think that's what it was, actually. I think that we were starting to turn away from that really big booming, EDM phase that was happening right before this, from 2010 to 2012 pretty much. So I think that's what happened, and I feel like Gaga just took what was and definitely built on it and made it more experimental and more wild and more out there, and other artists tamed it down to make it more mainstream, more digestible, I guess you could say. Because to me, like the Applause, even just the opening, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is and to me, it's very theatrical. Like when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this is theater Gaga. She is a theater kid. Like it's through and through on this track, So that's kind of why I feel like it's not the strongest lead single. If I had to pick one, I probably would have had her open with Guy, to be honest. That is, to me, one of the strongest tracks on that record. I think that would have been a good, strong opener, or even Aura would have been, pretty monumental. And Venus, I get choosing that as a second single. I know we're not talking about second singles or anything like that, but I don't even know if it was a full single. I just know it was promotional maybe, but I would even like to have seen Sex Dreams be a single. Like that was actually a pretty legit song. And a lot of people, Live for Gypsy. I think that should have been the closing single had it been the big, monumental era that it should have been. At number 5, we are talking about Stupid Love, guys. So Stupid Love reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released February 28th, 2020. I think this instrumental is way better than Applause. It's definitely more digestible for, I think, everybody. I hear this song everywhere still, in Target, in the mall, everywhere. So I think she was smart to come back to her pop roots after everything that had happened, and in a more mainstream way. And I don't mean that to be like, you have to fit in the box to be mainstream. But, after art pop, I feel like she still continued to be very experimental. I think that, she went into country for a second and she went into jazz. And I just think that her coming back to pop in the way she did was smart. Another thing with this song for me is when this leaked, I was immediately reminded of Born This Way. I thought this was a Born This Way, like, unreleased demo. I thought that's what was happening. That's what everyone was circulating, but it was not. It was, in fact, like her next lead single. And it shook me just because even though it is a better song, in my opinion, I think that there are better songs on the album. Obviously, Rain on Me is a banger. Maybe she should have led with that, I think that it has the strongest replayability of the whole record. Obviously, I'm so glad she made 911 a single. That was one of my top picks. I think Plastic Doll would have been a great lead single, followed by maybe Fun Tonight or something. But I think that it was a smart choice, very strategic. I mean, you have to play the game if you want to stay relevant, and I think that she was very smart. She made a collection of bangers. But I think the biggest hinder to me was that I heard a lot of Born This Way in this sound, even though I know, Born This Way was very 80s and Chromatica was very 90s house inspired. There was something about it that felt very familiar. It was giving when I heard Vampire from Olivia Rodrigo for the first time. Like, I heard that and was like, okay, this sounds like quite a few things from her previous record. So I was just very not blown away by it, I guess you could say. Alrighty, my friends. So coming in at number 4, we are talking about Perfect Illusion. So Perfect Illusion peaked at number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released September 9th, 2016. For me, so the Joanne era was interesting. She had just put out The Cure, which in my opinion was a huge banger. Like, I don't understand how that song didn't hit top 10. I really thought that was her comeback thing, and I get it. I feel like after art pop, she definitely needed to do some things to soften her image, and she definitely did that by, stepping into the acting limelight and, trying different genres, going into jazz. And I think that there are better songs on this album to open with. John Wayne is a great song. John Wayne is a great song. I think that should have been the lead single, and followed by A Million Reasons, maybe by something else had it been a bigger album. But I think John Wayne or Ayo should have been her lead single. Perfect Illusion, I just think, was too rock. I think John Wayne does take that rock aesthetic, but it does the country thing that she wants, but also this pop thing that is kind of earwormy. And Ayo is just, to me, it's just classic, like pop, like Americana pop. Like, I just think that it makes more sense. I don't hate Perfect Illusion, though. I really actually do enjoy that song, and I wish it had been bigger. And I get that this was her softening her vibe, but I still would have loved to have seen her, camp that she's known for. And who knows? I feel like in a lot of ways, the stuff she did do during the era was camp, because it's like she is so high fashion that her doing this very simplistic style was camp in a way to me. But it was good. I definitely think it's a stronger song than the other ones. I think that it's written way better than the other two. Stupid Love to me is just very repetitive, and this one I think is well written, and I take to it a lot more than the other two. Coming in at number 3, we are talking about Just Dance. Just Dance peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released April 8th, 2008. I have a lot to say about this album, actually, because I really grew up on this record from start to finish. It was a huge, huge, huge thing for me. Just Dance is great. It's infectious. It is a huge party song. I think it's great for weddings. I think it's great for any type of celebration. It's definitely just a let's forget our worries and have a good time type of song. And I live for everything she did during this era. I think that we hadn't seen something like it in the way that she was doing it before. It was very much Britney, but not, because it was more theatrical. Britney was very Vegas, and I think Gaga is very New York, if you ask me. And that's not, I think Vegas is amazing, so I hope nobody in the Britney stan community takes that offensively, because I fucking love Britney. She's a queen. I don't think she could have done this one better. I don't think that there's a song on this album that would have been a better lead. Just thinking about it from a business perspective, Akon was on the track, who was huge in the era previous to this, and he was really trying to, help other artists come up and, starting his own label and stuff like that. And I think that having a male feature, someone who was also on the come up, who was on Akon's team, who he would obviously push, was smart. I think that the Fame had a lot of other great offerings. Like, she could have kept going. Every song is a hit. She could have kept going and going and going, and we would have ate it up. That being said, where is Colby O'Donis now, I wonder? Like, that's really all I have to say about this one, guys. It's just an earworm. Its lyrics are very colorful to me. It makes me want to listen to it over and over again. Like, the effects over that, half psychotic, sick, hypnotic, like that whole part is insane to me. I was just remember being so mesmerized by that as a kid. And she did that thing a lot this era where she made up her own words, her own euphemisms, and I lived for that. I wish she had continued to do that, but I get it, not everyone's ready for that type of avant-garde type stuff, Not everyone's willing to let fetch happen. But yeah, guys, so here at the number 2 spot, it is Born This Way. So Born This Way reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released February 11th, 2011. I have a couple things just to say about this album, just because, a lot of people argue whether it's her third or her second album. To me, it is her third. Like, if you were around for the Fame Monster era, you had the EP version of that. Like, it was just that big of a deal. So to me, this is her third record, but technically it's her second proper record. I think that this song is going to live on in the LGBTQ community for the rest of eternity. I think that this was a powerhouse of a record. So many good songs. Another, honestly, skipless record for me. So I think that even though she might have been able to release things differently in a different order, this was the best way to do it. The title track was definitely the smartest choice. Honestly, the only other one I could have really seen her open with is Marry the Night. Marry the Night would have been bigger than it was when it released if she had opened with it and then released Born This Way, because that would have been crazy. Can you imagine us getting Marry the Night and then her giving us the title track after? But I get it, because I believe she had already announced it at the MTV Music Video Awards, so I don't blame her for going through with that. It was definitely a good choice. She got a lot of flack for this back in the day. People were comparing it to Madonna's Express Yourself, and art imitates life. Like, that's what's gonna happen. I love hearing other artists' influences in their music, as long as they freshen things up and make it their own. And I really think Gaga did that. I don't think she was intentionally trying to rip off anything Madonna did specifically, but I think she was definitely going for the 80s. That was definitely the vibe. Even the motorcycle on the cover, it's just very 80s. It just is to me. I think Born This Way is written well. I think it's sold tremendously. So to me, that's just another huge factor. Alrighty, guys. So at number 1, I'm sure if you've counted down all of her lead singles, but we are going to be talking about Bad Romance. So Bad Romance reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was released October 19th, 2009. I think that, this was the perfect time to release this. October, the Fame Monster was Halloween themed, in my opinion. It was creepy, Frankenstein, like, that was the aesthetic. So I just think that releasing it at that time was very, very smart of her and a good choice. And, the song is just a banger. She could have put that out in the summer and it would have done just as well. And honestly, she could have even released that same video either time and it would have slapped. It would have just made sense. So like I already talked about, this song is technically a part of an EP, something that I just don't stand by. I really consider this a second album. I mean, I know it's only 8 tracks, but it's such a strong piece of work that it just is an album. And each of the songs most of them, I think if not all of them, peak over 4 minutes. I don't think there's one song on that record that doesn't clock in over 4 minutes. So I mean, by the time you're done listening to it, you've listened to the size of a normal album. Bad Romance is the perfect lead single from Lady Gaga. I think that it's got everything that I want from her. It's got avant-garde lyrics with just a hint of the theater. I don't like when she goes full theater kid like she did in Applause. Like when she's just got a hint of it like she did in Bad Romance. There isn't another song on this album that she could have led with. Telephone would have done well, obviously, because of the Beyonce feature, but I think that it was smart for her to hold on to that so that this era could really, really stretch. Sad that Dance in the Dark didn't get a music video. I know it was like queued up to be a single. And to be honest, I think that So Happy I Could Die should have like closed out the whole record. And honestly, Speechless should have been right before that. So that would have been cool. Anyways, I actually did want to shout out another song from this album. It's so funny because the only way I heard this song was on like a Japanese deluxe version of this album that includes The Fame. So at the end of The Fame, a lot of people know the track Disco Heaven. And there's another one that a lot of people know too that it's evading me right now, but I've heard it a lot more than the one that I prefer. Shout out to Again Again. If you know, you know. It is the Lady Gaga song for me. I don't know why she hasn't put it out on streaming services. I mean, we didn't get it for the Fame anniversary, so I'm hoping with everything we get like the complete edition of the Fame Monster whenever that anniversary comes around, because I'm ready, guys. Like Again Again is such a great song. It would do so well on streaming services. If you haven't heard it, it's available on YouTube. You can find it. I actually really recommend that you do. And honestly, while you're on YouTube, you might as well just look up Fooled Me Again, Honest Eyes, Lady Gaga live performance. She does it at a radio station. And it's the most captivating performance I've ever seen in my whole life. Obviously, she's given us, the SNL paparazzi performance and the iconic VMA paparazzi performance. But to me, the Fooled Me Again performance was when she still had, like, just something to prove. Fire in her belly. And, like, it showed. But yeah, back to the task at hand. Bad Romance. Perfect Lady Gaga song. Perfect Lady Gaga lead single. Red One definitely came through for her, in my opinion. Like, I mean, they really did it again with this one. Lightning really does strike twice sometimes, I guess. Okay, guys, so the final rankings, if we are going in order, Applause is coming in at number 6, Stupid Love at number 5, Perfect Illusion at number 4, Just Dance at number 3, Born This Way at number 2, and Bad Romance at number 1. Let me know what you guys think of my list. These are all just my opinions, guys. Like, I'm sorry if your favorite song is at the bottom of this list. I love all these songs. I love all of you, so please do not destroy me in the comments. But I would like to know what your thoughts are. Just in general, were you a Lady Gaga stan? What was your favorite record? What's your favorite song? What would you change? Give me your list in the comments. I will talk to you guys next time. I really was excited to do this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.